I'm actually gonna do this soft spoken. A lot of times I'll do like big sister, or not a lot of times, I think I've only actually done one, but I plan to do more in the future, like actual big sister role plays. But my idea with like this like queer big sister one is more that like I just chat about my life and your life and my ideas, and just like giving like just kind of like, oh god, how do you put this into words? I'm sure you guys already know what I'm talking about. I'm just gonna like the way that like if we were having like a sleepover chat, we'd have a sleepover chat, but instead we're having like I'm your big sister chat. Cute. I'm glad we settled that. Awesome. Well, if you're here, you're probably queer, and if you're not, don't worry, I still love you. That's a joke, by the way. Yeah. Wow, I really should have planned out what I was going to say. But I will say one of the first things I thought about when I was like coming in to do this was like, oh my gosh, should I like change what I'm wearing? Because I don't know if you guys saw the video before, but I'm just wearing my cozy robe because I was pampering myself tonight. And I was like, oh my gosh, should I'm low-key, I'm gonna chew some gum. And I was like, oh my god, should I like try to look more queer? So that like the thumbnail sticks out a little bit. And I was like, how would I even do that? Because the main thing I was like actually going to talk about is my own understanding, and like there's a lot of definitions. Let's discuss this first. There's a lot of definitions of the word femme. There is the historical context of femme as part of butch femme culture, which is a primarily lesbian culture and working class in like the US primarily, and like the early mid 19th century. Okay, that is its own thing, and that has different connotations, including like connotations of roles in the bedroom. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about a sort of later, more expansive, more inclusive definition of femme that is more closely related to an idea of gender identity and expression. For some people, it's just aesthetics. For some people, it's very innately tied to their lesbian identity and or their relationship to butch lesbians. And then there's also a whole other definition of femme that is intrinsically tied to queer ballroom culture and has its roots in Black and Latina communities. That's a whole other thing. Let's get started with that. I watched a very good video about that this morning. I'm actually going to link it below. And I'm reading currently, I don't know where it is, but I'm reading Excluded by Julia Serrano. And she talks about one of my favorite, it's like a lot of little essays and articles and stuff like that. Like it's a collection of writings that she has. And one was about like being femme, what it means to her as a, this term can sometimes be outdated, but she self-defines as a transsexual woman who identifies as femme, who's also bisexual, who's also a tomboy, all these things, right? That make her who she is, that make her identify with the labels she chooses to identify with. And you don't have to be a label person. But I'm finding recently, I was never really a label person. I'm like, I've always identified, no, that's not true. Actually, you know what? Queer Big Sis chat, let's do it. Let's do the whole story. I like came out to my friends in middle school. And I think it was only like 1 or 2 friends. For any of you who grew up with Girl Meets World, or those who are modern Sabrina Carpenter fans, if y'all remember Rowan Blanchard, there was like some quote she had. And I think she got like under fire like later on for being biphobic, which I don't even know if she was. I like actually don't know any of the context of that. I very much doubt that she is, but I won't speak out of turn. That's not my job. So, sorry. These nails are so sharp that I'm like, I just keep wanting to like move them. So, anyways, this is all this to say. There was like a Rowan Blanchard quote, circa 2013. And I was like, and it was like, I don't know, I think I could like anyone. And I was like, wait a second, that feels really real. I personally don't identify as pansexual, but shout out to the pan babies. I got friends who identify as pansexual. That sounds like I have pan friends. Sorry, it's not what I mean at this point. But bisexual was always a label that stuck for me, and also I think my attraction to different genders is different. Which is something I think that kind of causes a stir sometimes. Because I think some people don't experience that. And I kind of think, personally, that at the end of the day, we should all just live and let live. Human sexuality is a very innate, intrinsic, social, and biological thing that has so many factors going on all the time. Constant new things are happening in your body all the time, believe it or not. That's at least my current understanding of it scientifically and sociologically. I know mine's always in flux, and that's something I appreciate and I'm coming to terms with about it also, because sometimes it's a pain. But yeah, I can only speak to my experiences as a bisexual cis woman. Although sometimes I do speak about the experiences of my friends. I'm like, I can only speak about, I really should only speak about, but I learn a lot from the perspectives of my friends who have different experiences, or who have identified as lesbian, or who have experiences not feeling tied to a cis identity, but not necessarily considering themselves trans, or like considering themselves trans, etc., right? So anyways, I say all this to say that lately I've been learning and just like feeling a sort of pull towards the identity, particularly like gender, both aesthetics. I've always enjoyed dressing more femininely. That's just like across the board. I will say I have some flirtations with androgyny every once in a while, and I still feel pretty cool if I dress up in like if I got my like if I like baggy pants and baggy, like I feel good. Like I feel a little masculine in like a nice way, you know? Which I think is so interesting, because we all have such different experiences with gender, whether we are cis or trans, or we consider ourselves in a different way. And like, yeah, but I feel most innately like comfortable being feminine, and that's not the experience of every woman. And it's just very interesting lately. I've been really thinking about that. And also in the Julie Serrano book, she talks about like just experiences of like, there's another reason I've been drawn to like the term and the identity of femme, is because like I think there's like a uniting factor across kind of all of the aspects of femme. I guess I won't speak for like the lesbian or ballroom, like very strict butch femme and or ballroom definitions of femme, but for everything else it seems as though there is kind of like, if you associate with yourself with femininity, if you try to carve out a space of femininity for yourself, you are at risk of being looked down upon in society. So whether or not you are a woman, if you are seen as feminized, or the things you enjoy are feminized, there is a derogatory aspect to that. And reclaiming that and like reconstituting that's not a word. I swear to God, that's not a word. But like configuring that has been really interesting for me to consider lately. Because I enjoy stereotypically girly and feminine things that are often demeaned in society, and I love them. And as I've also learned, primarily through my pretty intense work of decentering, this is my little motion for, because I don't want to get demonetized. Like decentering, I'll say this: if you are a woman, primarily a queer woman, that's about my age and was brought up with the sex positivity that we were brought up with, shout out to sex positivity, and Lord am I thankful for it. And some of it did a little bit of damage to me. Decentering a certain idea of bedroom stuff in my brain and decentering men has freed up a new idea of femininity, a new performance of it that is not chained to this idea of what I had to be in relationships past, or what I thought I had to be in relationships past, particularly with men or when I'm interacting with men. And being able to see those things that I do innately enjoy, but that had gotten warped by my experiences with patriarchy in this new light, and reintegrate them into an empowering part of my identity has been so lovely. And I wish that gender experience, whether it's feminine or not, upon every queer and non-queer person on the planet, because it is wonderful. And for all my queer babies, whether or not you are like on a gender journey, whatever that means to you. I don't even know if that's the right way I want to phrase that. But like literally, I guess what I'm saying is like regardless of gender expression, identity, etc., whoever you are, I really, really hope that you let yourself have things. That you let yourself have this. Because I know I didn't. I did not realize until I became older, and I am still young and still growing, but it really took a lot of aging and a lot of experiences to realize how boxed in I think I was. And I didn't even really think I was, because I was raised very like, girls can do anything. I really didn't have experiences of being super boxed in as a child or in my family environments. Of course, we live in a society, so things seeped in. But yeah, so I think right now the current journey I'm on is reconstructing femininity, finding some beauty in identifying, I think, as femme. There's still a part of me that like gets scared about that, because unfortunately there's a lot of biphobia. And even though I know that the word femme, the way I'm using it, is completely open to bi women, I'm always so scared of saying the wrong thing and excluding myself from queer communities. Primarily sapphic communities. I do have, I think it's very hard because queer women go through a lot. Whether or not we are in homosexual or heterosexual relationships, or perhaps poly relationships, there's always there's always something. That's what I'll say. There's always something. There's, of course, the ease of passing as straight in heterosexual relationships. There's, of course, I don't know how I feel about. I think I do, because I am femme, or feminine, presenting, whatever that means. I know what it means to me, but you get what I'm saying. I don't know. I feel like, what was I gonna say? I do have that ease of being seen as straight in society and not being ostracized. Although, queer people usually clock me. Queer people know. Like, I think there's a certain, I think oftentimes, and this does not mean you have to be, if you are femme and queer, do not feel as though you have to look like you are not straight. Now, if you're like upset because like girls aren't paying attention to you or whatever, I get it. But also, don't necessarily change your expression just to get a girl's attention. Like, I don't know, are we not, this is just one big sister's opinion, right? It's like, I don't think as much as I like do enjoy like looking kind of gay when I'm around gay women that I may or may not find attractive, I personally at this point in my life don't want to have to change things for anyone of any gender. It doesn't do it for me. I don't want to have to That's not fun for me. That seems kind of antithetical to enjoying my queerness, personally. That being said, what was I gonna say? There is a certain aspect of my expression of femininity that I think is sometimes interpreted as queer. I'm not even really sure why. It's got that Miss Frizzle energy to it sometimes. It's got that English teacher energy to it. Because I'm a teacher, so maybe that's what's leaking out. But it's so funny because like most English teachers are probably straight, but they have that comforting ally vibe for the most part. It's so funny because I like look back on my English teachers. I actually had I did not have very good experiences with English teachers across most of my life. So I know there's that stereotype of like, that's where all the queer kids get to go at lunchtime. And I really hope you had that. I really, really do. I hope you had some safe space at your school, especially if it was a particularly homophobic area or school. I really, really, really hope you did. Whether or not that was like your friends or your family, I don't know. I really hope you do have that or had that, or you at least have a chosen family now. But yeah, I definitely had a safe space. I went to an arts high school. Everyone was queer. And I wasn't out until after I graduated high school. Guys, okay, wait. Roll back the story. So I came out to friends because that Roan Blanchard code in middle school. And then the biphobia struck because I'm not going to sit here and lie. I am very attracted to men. Some people put it on like a scale or a percentage system. And I don't think that necessarily applies to me. I'm also sometimes like asked that by like cishet men and like, or I have been at least in the past, and like that just kind of irks me, especially since it does fluctuate for me at least, and because not everything's like separated by gender. Like it just doesn't work like that, right? Like that's not right, real life to me. If you want to label it that way, you do you. Again, it's your sexuality. It is quite literally so unique to you that even if you do choose a label, you are the only one that experiences it the way you do. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that amazing? Same with gender. You are a woman, you are a man, you are not a man, you are not a woman, you are a trans femme, you are a mask, you are a butch, you are a whatever you gender label or gender expression label or gender identity label or whatever you want, non-binary. But whatever that means to you, because there's so many different ways to be non-binary. Duh. Like you're the only one doing it that way. Like, oh, give yourself a round of applause. That's impeccable. Good job. I don't remember where I was going with that. But yeah, give yourself a round of applause. You're the only one doing it like that. Anyways, I'm saying I can only be bisexual the way I'm bisexual. And yeah, I'm very attracted to men. And where was I going with that? So the internalized biphobia kicked in and I was like, I'm hurting the bi community. I'm evil and I'm here hurting the queer community. And I'm sure a lot of you who maybe don't have clear, actually doesn't matter. I'm sure a lot of us can relate in general to some sort of internalized shamed, whether brought upon by queerness or not. But I talked myself back into that closet. I was also fairly religious at the time, so that was an important factor. I grew up Catholic. I pushed myself back in that closet. Not because I thought that it was a sin. Like, that wasn't like a main factor. Although I knew I wouldn't be accepted by my faith community. But that, again, really wasn't like a huge factor. It was mostly because I thought I was like evil and hurting everyone because I was lying. I was not lying. Fun fact. Spoiler. I wasn't lying. But so this to say, I still really struggle with that. I still think I'm lying sometimes. Like every like 3 months, I'll be like, I guess it was a lie. I guess I don't like women, at least. It's so stupid. It's not based in any reality. It's like, okay, so what was that then? So that was a fluke? Okay, because it's gonna come back in 3 months, 2 months, maybe even a week. Give it a day, even. And it's so silly how these things happen. This is what I mean by like, you really only have your own specific version of your sexuality. I'm sure people can relate because we're humans and we're baked in similar ways often. And I'm sure your story's a little different too. And your experience is a little different. I don't remember what my point was, clearly. But yeah, I say all of this to say, give yourself a round of applause for being you. Give yourself a round of applause for being labelless or having your beautiful labels. Femmes across the board, whether or not you identify as one, if you have experiences of liking feminine things, being feminized in any way, give yourself a pat on the back for surviving the femphobia present in this world. It's not an easy world in which to be or like or be interpreted as feminine in any regard. It's not kind. And give yourself a pat on the back for being masculine in whatever gender non-conforming way you probably are. Even if you're a cishet man watching this and you dare to defy patriarchal norms of oppressive masculinity, give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back and keep it going and keep it pushing, because we're very much rooting for you and also very much in need of you to keep doing that work, please, so that less of us have to live our lives in fear. Thanks. But anyways, if you're queer, give yourself a pat on the back. I want to see you pat yourself on the back. Pat yourself on the back. I really want to do an aggressive pep talk video, because that's like my favorite way to hype people up. I want to see you guys prep. Do it. Say, I am amazing. Louder. Like that. Anyways, this was a fun chat. TLDR, biphobia. Yup. It's hard. Lesbians, please accept me. Not like into your spaces. Take your lesbian spaces. You guys need it. You guys deserve it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm gonna stop talking. Anyways, shout out to all my queer babies, no matter your label or your labellessness, no matter if you know you're queer yet or not. No matter if you identify as queer or you just know that your experiences are different from those of the norm, you are loved and you are special here. And I hope that you gained a little something from listening to me blab about my experiences with my femininity and with my bisexuality. Anyways, it's a necessary time for me to shut up and like make a different video. Love you so much. Your big sister says goodbye.